On the last day of 6th grade, Miss Richards, a sweet hippy-dippy-ish young woman who had no command of discipline and would probably not last long in the public education system, tried to recite for Chuck's class some verse of Walt Whitman's Song of Myself.
Continuing our trend about talking about movies in theaters this month, tonight we're discussing Mike Flanagan's The Life of Chuck.
He has a wife, Ginny, to whom he is scrupulously faithful, and an intelligent, good-humored son in middle school. He also has only 9 months to live, though he doesn't know that yet.
Although his student films apparently gravitated towards melodrama, and he grew up too easily scared to even watch horror movies, Mike Flanagan has become basically the definitive Stephen King filmmaker. He might not have watched many horror movies as a kid, but he read Stephen King's novels voraciously. As a student, he directed 2 student films and then began his film called Ghosts, which would become Ghosts of Hamilton Street, that he kept working on after he graduated and finally finished in 2003. He went to Towson University in Maryland and filmed it with local actors, only finishing it because a friend who had gotten hit by a Papa John's delivery driver decided to invest his settlement into the film. Inspired by his experience struggling in school, Ghosts of Hamilton Street was about a troubled alcoholic writer whose friends and family start disappearing one by one. Next, he made the short film Oculus Chapter 3, The Man with the Plan, intending to turn it into a series of short films. But a lack of cash meant that it was made for $1,500, and the film Oculus would emerge much later.
The next known owner is an American railroad tycoon by the name of Robert Clancy. Robert Clancy is rumored to weigh over 300 pounds. Now, he hung the mirror in his ballroom in Atlanta. Later that year, Robert Clancy is photographed by a small local newspaper, and in that picture, he appears to weigh no more than 100 pounds. Unfortunately, Robert Clancy, his estate, and the glass are supposedly destroyed in Sherman's March to the Ocean.
Mike Flanagan showed the short film at film festivals, but didn't want it to be another found footage film, and he wanted to direct it. In 2011, Mike Flanagan financed his film Absentia on Kickstarter, which is considered like his real feature directorial debut. Made for $70,000 in his apartment in Glendale, this is where his beginning as a horror director really started. In 2012, 6 years after his short, Intrepid Pictures signed a deal to allow Mike Flanagan to shoot Oculus. It was produced for a budget of $5 million and released in 2014. Oculus starred Kate Siegel, who Mike Flanagan would marry in 2016. The theatrical distribution would be done by Relativity Media, who also agreed to distribute, and Intrepid Pictures to produce, Flanagan's next film, Before I Wake, which would be finished in 2015, just as Relativity Media went bankrupt. The bankruptcy meant that it was pulled from the release schedule more than once, pushing it into 2016. Mike Flanagan co-wrote the film Hush with Kate Siegel and released it with Blumhouse. In 2017, Mike Flanagan directed his first Stephen King adaptation, Gerald's Game, a novel he had read and been terrified of as a kid. It was a 1992 novel that was considered unfilmable for a long time. He cast Carla Gugino and Bruce Greenwood about a woman who is left handcuffed to a bed in an isolated house when her husband, who she was there with to rekindle their marriage, suddenly dies of a heart attack. In 2019, Stephen King let Mike Flanagan write and direct the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. It's famously known that Stephen King really didn't like what Kubrick did to The Shining. Even though it's now one of the most beloved and iconic horror films ever made, Stephen King didn't really believe it was an effective horror film and hated his changes.
The film is extremely cold. Stanley Kubrick saw The Haunting as coming from Jack Torrance, from the Jack Nicholson character, whereas I always saw it from outside. So we had a fundamental difference of opinion about it. I always thought that the real difference between my take on it and Stanley Kubrick's take on it was this. In my novel, the hotel burns. In Kubrick's movie, the hotel freezes. It's a difference between warmth and cold. But the images are striking. There's no doubt about it.
So it was a big deal that he trusted Mike Flanagan to do the sequel. Tonight we're talking about Mike Flanagan's third Stephen King adaptation, The Life of Chuck.
Any idea who he is?
None.
I've asked 24 people, at least. Nobody knows. Our man Krantz is the Oz of the apocalypse.
Starring Tom Hiddleston as Chuck, Sara from Ferris Bueller, and Mark Hamill, Karen Gillan, Jacob Tremblay, Carl Lumbly, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, with appearances by Heather Langenkamp and Matthew Lillard. Narrated pretty heavily by Nick Offerman. The story told in 3 very distinct parts. The first part is more dystopian and absurdist, with a teacher named Marty and his ex-wife Felicia living through the terrifying and puzzling end of the world, ending with a whimper. Pieces of the country break off, there are floods and earthquakes.
But this just 60 different varieties of shit. It's just so much shit. It happened fast. It's like a year, man. 14 months. Sucks.
The internet goes out, and everywhere you see signs saying, Charles Krantz, 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck. But nobody knows who Chuck Krantz is or has ever heard of him. At the end of the night, right before the world ends, you see Tom Hiddleston's Chuck Krantz dying in the hospital bed, and his wife says, 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck, and kisses him before he finally dies. The second part, Nick Offerman tells us that Chuck Krantz has 9 months to live but doesn't know it. It tells us the story of the accountant, Chuck Krantz, seeing a busker playing drums and stopping to dance in front of a crowd with a young woman, a complete stranger, joining in his dancing. We're told that this was Chuck's best day, and as his mind goes from the brain tumor, this is the memory that keeps him going even as the lights, memories, and everything turns off in his head.
What he will remember occasionally is how he stopped and dropped his briefcase and began to move his hips to the beat of the drums. And he will think that is why God made the world.
The third story is about Chuck's early life. His mom and dad and unborn sister all die in a car accident. He lives with his Bubbe and Zaide, played by Sara and Mark Hamill. His Bubbe teaches him how to dance, but she also dies, collapsing in a grocery store when he's 10.
That lady who was in here a few weeks ago, the one who died, where was she when it happened?
It's a little creepy, kid.
She was my grandma.
Now living with his alcoholic grandfather, who swears that upstairs is a room where you see ghosts of people who are going to die, Chuck keeps dancing and takes a dance class in high school, even though his deity wants him to be an accountant.
What's in there? Right between my hands, right now.
I don't know.
All the people you know?
I guess.
Just the people you know? Everything you see. Everything you know. The world, Chuck. Planes in the sky, manhole covers in the street. Every year that you live, that world inside your head will get bigger and brighter.
He's also introduced to the Walt Whitman poem, Song of Myself, that says, I am large, I contain multitudes. The multitudes are the people he meets, who live on in his head and memory as the characters we see in the first part. And the dialogue and actors recur in both parts. After Zaide dies, and Chuck walks into the ghost room, he sees himself on his deathbed from a brain tumor. Each of these parts isn't just a different story, it's filmed almost as a different genre of film, giving it the feeling of a story anthology. And yet, by the end, it all comes together in a neat way, discussing life, death, and grieving. Stephen King's work has often been about the issues he grapples with, but I think there's a directness and a sweetness to it that you wouldn't necessarily expect, as well as the humor of a movie like Stranger Than Fiction maybe is the first thing I thought of. Not to say Stephen King just does horror, he doesn't, but it's not wrapped in the allegory that he often writes with. Mike Flanagan, who is known for his monologues, keeps so much of the original Stephen King narration through Nick Offerman. It's a really fascinating adaptation, especially the reverse chronology, with the strangest part first, like it's daring you to stick with it.
What happens to that universe if someone, I don't know, hits a patch of ice and goes off an overpass or...
Don't worry too much about those things. Just remember that you contain multitudes, Chuck.
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/movie night extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are 2 more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. We are live right now on This Space. If you aren't following them, join This Space TV on YouTube. Link below. Conan Neutron is the co-host and senior producer for Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, an independent Film Critics of America film critic, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Check out his music at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Kristina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, a streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, a host at This Space, hosting Kristina's Corner, and is across social media at Cosmopolitics and on Letterboxd at Kristina. Zach Marsh is an actor, director, and frequent cinema goer who made a short film called A Talk in the Park, which is now on YouTube, link in the bio, that he directed and starred in, and is on Letterboxd at Zach B. Marsh and on Instagram at The Cinema of My Mind. I, of course, am your host, who is large and contains multitudes, Forrest Miller. Wait, Miss Richard just pushed off the what happens to my mind universe if I die question. That was clearly a pretty good question. Also, Miss Richards is Mike Flanagan's wife.
And a total stand-in for Angelina Jolie from like 1997 too, by the way. Yeah. Zach, welcome back, man. It's great to have you back on. It's been a little bit, and I think this is a great one to have you on for. I think you're also silent.
Yeah, you're muted.
By choice, I think.
You're muted.
Right now, this is my favorite movie of the year. This is the one to beat. I absolutely love this one. I love everything about it.
I was muted. I was saying it's very wonderful to be back.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, and I don't want to spoil too much of my thoughts ahead of time, but this is also my favorite film of the year so far.
Conan's too. You just said.
Yeah. So it's wild because, I mean, it's no secret on this show that we love Tom Hiddleston, right? I mean, Kristina and I have opined about how great underrated the Loki series is. Even people like burned out on Marvel. Yeah, we get it, but like this
is not a Marvel show.
It's a completely different show. First of all, it's written, especially second season, show produced by the guys that did Something in the Dirt, and like all of those great lo-fi sci-fi movies, and it's basically the best season of Doctor Who ever. Like, it's super interesting. It's intelligent. They did something cool with the character that like totally takes it out of the wheelhouse of where it's supposed to be. But it all works because Tom Hiddleston's great. He's got like such effortless charisma, and we never see him in stuff. And it's so funny because you see this, which by the way gets, and I'm sure we'll get into it, gets to feature his dancing, which he's astoundingly good at. And it's just
Rasputin.
It's kind of surprising that you don't get to see him, outside of the character of Loki. You don't get to see him that many movies, and it's really like this guy's a star. You know what I mean?
Well, for a while, they're trying to stick him in every Marvel movie for a little bit, which is fine, like as like the continuity link. But I don't know if that like gives you much time to be in like here's a cool like we're really shooting this like indie lowdown. Like, because we've talked about Only Lovers Left
Alive. I was checking to make sure it was him because he so disappears into that role of like the rock and roll vampire that it's like that was him, right? Like, let me check before I make a fool of myself.
I also feel like he's disappearing so much into Chuck, like you forget he's British, like the real guy, because his American accent is so generic, kind of like almost like Midwestern, like or like like it just is such a good like just like generic American accent. Like you forget that he's a British guy, and then you hear him talk. He's
such an incredible talent. You really never get to see him be a lead in a movie. That's not a property.
I will say this: I've seen videos of like Marvel stars who just can't quite make it. Tom Hiddleston was always on that list because a lot of the stuff he was in was just not good. Like he played Hank Williams. Yeah. He played Hank Williams. He did. I think the only really good thing he did like that Crimson Peak for a show.
No, imagine.
Well, I mean,
now imagine him as like with the Chuck voice going, "Hey, good looking." Like,
well, I mean, Only Lovers Left Alive is amazing, but it's this weird mid-period Jarmusch that no one was paying attention to what Jim Jarmusch was doing, except for unless Bill Murray was involved, you know. And like,
hey, is that you, Bill Murray?
Is that you, Bill Murray? Hey, Bill Murray, Bill Murray. But Only Lovers Left Alive. But Only Lovers Left Alive is fantastic. But it's again him, because it's both of them, right? Because it's him and what's her face? It's Tilda, yeah. Like, and I feel like Tilda,
weird, like, ageless kind of like almost mystical energy about them, just in general. Like, there's something really, like he is a perfect Loki because he's so like there's something very impish about like him, just the presence,
his
like,
whole
presence.
vibe.
In this movie too, which is crazy because like literally the plot is like, oh, this guy's about to die of cancer. But yeah.
Which is so okay. So all that comes around, and I like Mike Flanagan. I've come around Mike Flanagan before. I was like, I don't know who that is. To being like, oh, it's that horror movie guy. Fine. To being like, oh, this guy's actually there's something here. There's something really interesting here. And I know he basically became Stephen King's guy, right? Like, hey, when my stuff gets adapted, I want it to be you. But because he
did Dr. Sleep, right?
Yeah. Which is good. Which is I didn't give the time of day because I'm like, what? Why even make a sequel to that? That's stupid. Which it was. But then again, it was well done, and you know, I was kind of like, all right, fine.
It makes.
But here's the point. Here's my point. When I heard it was like, oh, it's a Mike Flanagan movie. I'm like, all right, cool. I know what that's gonna be. And they're like, actually, it's not exactly what you think it's gonna be. And I was like, really? And what you have is, to me, up there with the Shawshank Redemption, as far as like from the source material being so different than what the author is known for, and then also being so different than what the director is known for, that I think a lot of people are just assuming that I know what that is. And it's like, no, you really don't.
Like, people like don't think about how much Stephen King has written. Like,
and been on the island.
But like even which all right, I had a joke about that. I'm not going to say it right now. But even like this anthology from 2020 that this is from is 4 novellas that he was like, oh, I wrote these novellas and like they're too short for me to publish anywhere else, and I don't have like a selling point for them. So here's just 4 books, pretty much.
And think about what other stuff was novellas. Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, right? The Body, which became Stand By Me. Like, honestly, everything from different seasons, but At Pupil, which not great, folks.
Yeah, it's crazy. He wrote Stand By Me too. Like, there's so much stuff that's not hard. Like, he's so known for his horror because his horror prose is so good. Like, I remember being a kid and reading Carrie, and like even the book Carrie being like freaky as fuck. But like, he's so known for his I think that was the first Stephen King book I read, or at least that I remember reading. But like, he's so known for his horror stories, and it's like not all of them are.
Yeah, Maximum, whatever. Like some of those movies.
Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
well, as a director, he sure did a lot of cocaine, is what I got to say. But
and as a writer.
But as a writer, I mean, like you also like look. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and outline all the works of Stephen King. We'll be here all night. We'll have time to talk about the movie. But I guess what I'm getting at is that I would listen
to Nick Offerman read all the titles.
like reading the phone book. Sure, I'm into it, man. Great. I'm Nick Offerman narrating my life. I'm into that as well. He does a great job here.
But I messaged you guys at like 3 a.m. and I was like, I want Nick Offerman to narrate my life.
It's
walking down the street.
Lindsay walked in. She's like, you really hear the mustache in his narration.
Yeah,
you really can.
I have maybe a hot take regarding the narration.
Okay, lay it on us, Zach.
I say this because I think most of my favorite films don't have I'm not a big fan of narration.
No,
I think
Goodfellas and this and like maybe one other.
Yeah, there's like Casino for me. Maybe is the exception, but I think this is a contender for best narration in a film ever for me. Mainly because I generally don't like it as a device. I find narration
because it's a hacky device, right?
It's a hacky device. It's usually lazy and hand holding. It's Casino is an example of it used effectively. This is an example of it used fucking beautifully. I actually I even think some not all of it, but some of the narration in Goodfellas is kind of like unnecessary and spelling things out more than it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing about narration, right? Like, there's one of the.
What, you don't like narration? Huh? Well, it's not good enough for you.
Like the famous kind of bit about it, right? Is like when there's a hole in the script that they need to fill and they don't know how to fill it. They're like, well, just add narration. But there's also a second version of it where it's like a writer could be such a profound, like prose writer that you're like, oh, I want to capture some of the prose. Somebody's got to read this prose pretty much. And I think it really works here. But there's a lot of times where it does seem like somebody is nervous about doing like adapting whoever the writer is, which Mike Flanagan definitely is about Stephen King. Like
I also know
I'm mad Stephen King still is about The Shining, and then you realize like, oh, so this is a guy that like pretty much didn't have very much. Like he was making like films for under $1 million, and then one of his first films for like $5 million or something was Gerald's Game. And then from there, Stephen King's like, you know what? I really like your filmmaking. And he's like, oh, I don't want to lose my Stephen King connection or be one of the guys that in 40 years, somehow Stephen King's still alive. He's like 120 or something. And
he's a Futurama head in a jar.
Instead, and is still mad about one adaptation that's actually a success.
Yeah, he's still mad about The Shining. Yeah, exactly.
I hate that they made one of the best movies ever out of my book.
So what you're saying, but like tied having his affairs tied to Stephen King and like basically have it not work out in a way that was interesting or artistically successful. Is that kind of where you're going with that, Forrest?
Yeah, well, and there's been times I think with this too, like Stephen King was like, you have to like don't just adapt my like we got to make some changes on some of this stuff.
Right.
I think in Dr. Sleep too, like you gotta like we can't just like put my book on the screen. But I think Mike Flanagan is nervous that if he doesn't do that, Stephen King's like, this isn't the book I wrote, because of course he is. I would too. Like it's hard. Like
at least he learned something in Maximum Overdrive other than how to do cocaine in moderation. Zach, what were we gonna say?
So I haven't read the novella. So is the Nick Offerman narration, is that just the prose part? Like, is it just lifted right from the book?
I haven't read it, but like I was looking into a lot of it and like a lot of the reviews. It's pretty much just the Nick Offerman, which it's done really like Nick Offerman is like the person that it works best with. I think to have this like
Like, I'm tired of Morgan Freeman narrating everything.
It's enough with Morgan Freeman, yeah. Well, and I think that it's
smooth voices.
So I'd like to surreptitiously address the third act / first act, and what people may or may not find dismaying or interesting about it. But what I would like to say is that as a huge Carl Sagan fan, and especially of the television show Cosmos, which you can get a physical media if you want, and is basically single-handedly the best case for secular humanism, as well as one of the best scientific totemic works done in our life, not even in our lifetime, in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And is basically more or less paraphrased so eloquently in a phone conversation where the only prop is a calendar between two amazing actors. That's how I knew it was like, all right, this is going to be something cool. This is they're going deep on this because again, spoilers, everybody. I don't know who engaged with this show and doesn't realize they're going to get spoilers. But the third act, which is what is presented first, is more or less the end of Chuck's life. And it's the interiority of his world, the world that exists within Chuck, that exists within all of us. And it's dying. And what you basically get is one of the best apocalypse movies I think I've ever seen, but as a 30 to 40 minute thing where you're like, what is going on? And you keep seeing and for those that watch on YouTube, the Chuck Krantz 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck. Billboard's like, who's this Chuck guy? Why is he retiring?
It gets more and more unnerving because it's like, and you don't know why.
It shows up like literally in the windows and you're like, what? Why? And then stuff escalates and it's just so dismaying and unsettling, and then you see the stars literally going out, and you're like, "What is happening? What is this?"
Like literally sitting there. It's like Mars. They're like, "Oh, there goes Mars," and Mars just pop, and then it's like, "Oh, there goes like each star is popping in the sky," and they still have like they kind of torture you with it. Like it's almost like a form of foreplay or something, like torture foreplay or something, where they're.
But before any of that, Before any of that, you get the back and forth about Cosmos, and Carl Sagan is saying, like, if you look at a calendar that, on this day, the oceans, came together. This is the Cretaceous period. The dinosaurs showed up, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. And then the humans showed up on the last day, the last hour at like 11:55. Yeah. And it's something where it's like, oh, finally somebody hit on something that, like, what's one of the best things about Carl Sagan and the best thing about Cosmos is the ability to put things in perspective with a deep humanism, to be like, man, it's going to be okay. Like, it's either way, it's going to be okay if you look at the broader scope of like the universe that we live in. And man, how awesome is it to have that deployed in such a way with these characters that do not know what's going on. California's literally fallen in the ocean. The internet's down. More importantly, Pornhub, as the one guy says. Yeah. Like, everything, there's like sinkholes. And what we're seeing is disasters that are happening all the time in our absolutely screwed up state of the world that we live in. That could just be like, this could be like 6 months from now, as far as we know. But we don't know what's happening. But you get that humanistic relativism with it to kind of put things in perspective, and it's beautiful. And we just don't get that. And the only thing I can think about was it Mackenzie Davis show, Station 17, Station 19, Station something. I never read the book, but like that streaming show, that was like, oh wow, this is like a humanistic post-apocalyptic tale. Cool. That's the only time I've seen. Otherwise, it's just like everybody thinks it's going to be Mad Max. It's like, well, no, it isn't.
But realizing it's not the apocalypse and it's cancer shutting down this guy's brain. Sure. Like, because in your head you're like, oh, this is Stephen King's take on climate change.
Because you expect it. It's Stephen King. Of course, he's gonna kill the world.
It's
right?
like he's feeling lived up, and he's like, I'm gonna show everyone what climate change is gonna be like as the world. No, but as the world fades away, and then you realize after like 40 minutes, because it's a 40-minute long statement, you realize, oh no, that's not what this is at all. And this is the story of somebody's brain with a tumor in it that's like filtering through these last memories and everything, and like it's a very different thing than what you expect it's going to be.
And just to capstone what I was saying there, and capstone that point, it's one of the things it's a big head fake that happens with this movie that I think is beautiful, because it's something where what would seem hacky or like, all right, that's annoying. And believe me, some reviewers on Letterboxd do find it annoying. I found it to be incredibly profound, and it ties into the larger themes of the movie at large. So, I mean, I don't know, is it just me? Again, I'm a big Carl Sagan nerd, so like maybe that was just me, but I thought that stuff rocked, frankly. And I got
pretty cool that the space intro, like one of the teasers for the space was.
The space, Carl Sagan.
Who Loves America? Yeah. I think that it's
welcome to our The Spacers as well. We're proud to be multicasting on this space.
I like that all of that dialogue, right? Like it repeats in the third. Like you realize like this is all stuff that that Chuck has either heard as a kid or experienced or people he's seen. I wonder about like the Matthew Lillard character, who is someone that doesn't recur, if that's like kind of referencing the fact that he's been in so much like high profile stuff in like the night, like that would have been maybe stuff Chuck watched. Maybe I was overthinking that, but
oh sure. Well, yeah, because it is this Matthew Lillard where it's like, oh yeah, there he is, Matthew Lillard. Okay.
The cast is phenomenal. Like Stephen King's like, I'm gonna cast a bunch of horror icons in this movie.
Well, and a lot of them are like Flanagan's regulars, right? Like I haven't seen everything he's done, but I really like his House of Usher is where that's the first time I saw Strange Darling. I can't remember her name right now, but like the amazing actress in Strange Darling.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
She was in that, and I was like, wow, she's great. Like, and I keep seeing all these players who are like, wow, these people are awesome. And it's like, oh, it's all these people that Flanagan just like, he likes working with them. It's like a lot of directors do. They have like
including the people that like as far back as college. Like he had like people that he knew that were just kind of on the streets in Maryland that he found. And some of those are people that he's repeated in his films a bunch of times, including his friend. I think they got hit by a Papa John's delivery car, and then went, fuck it, I'll put my settlement into it. Like I'll put some of my settlement money into your film.
It's amazing. You love to see it. And it's also astounding that Kate Siegel, who he's married to, she's like one of the pivotal roles in this, which is when you get the young Chuck in the third segment, which is technically the second, is the one that teaches him about the interiority of the mind, basically based on that Walt Whitman poem. And it's such a key moment and a key part for the character and for the story, She's great. And then when you realize like, oh, it's her literally talking to her child, because young Chuck is played by Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel's child.
Yeah.
Amazing. Great child acting, by the way, as someone who's very hypercritical of child acting. Yeah, great nepotism in this movie.
Also, Mia Sara. Like, we're like, oh my God.
Well, we're just shouting people out, too. Legend. Like, hottest grandma ever. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, what do you want me to say here? I mean, she's 10 years older than me. And look, call me.
But like we rarely see her do films and TV these days, because I mean she's done projects that haven't been as good as like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and whatnot in her.
That's gotta be crazy though for such an early project. Right? It's got to be crazy to be like in like a high point of your career is like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because I feel like that movie inspired more other like homages and other movies than anything. Like,
yeah, and Heather Langenkamp, I'm like, let's go.
As the town gossip, like not horror related at all. Fantastic. Yeah. Like she's super good as the town gossip. You know, she's trying to gossip with the kid. She fucking wants a hot goss so bad. It's like oh, you want some tea? It's like, I'll take some milk. You know,
it gets really like there's something. I mean, I think Stephen King writes these kinds of kids really well. Like, I mean, Stand By Me too. Like, as far back as that, like kids that like are curious and like macabre, but then go too far, and whatever it is kind of traumatizes them in the moment. And that happens to this kid every 5 seconds. He's like, oh, where did the woman die? They're like, oh, you're a weird kid. He's like, no, this is my grandma. I want to know where she died. I want to know about this guy that hung himself. I want to know, like, he wants to know stuff that like you don't want to know. But that's such a part of being a kid. It's like you don't realize how much curiosity.
A true crime podcast.
You don't realize how much curiosity really did kill the cat. Pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, you can find out way too much, way too fast as a kid.
The spacer's asking if I mean GILF, and yes, I do. Thank you.
Well, she's a gilf.
Look, man, she's playing a little under the age of what she's supposed to be, but she's a good actress. And
she's got the same kind of like, because I don't think I've really seen her in much stuff at all since Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, because women become invisible at the age of 40.
She's got the same. She's got the same like Marissa Tomei kind of thing going on, where it's like they've aged.
Wait, you're not a big Time Cop fan, anyway.
But yeah, I think I don't know. So that first part, right? Like leading into the second part, I think it's really cool that like you see the girl skating in the second part, and that's your realization that like all of these are kind of characters in his head or repeating characters. But before that, there aren't really repeating characters besides Chuck.
You see a bunch of people at the end of that segment. You see a bunch of, like Raul Coley's like his nurse or whatever is like having a coffee as the girl skates by. That's why I think like I want to watch the end of that segment again to see if Matthew Lillard is like in the crowd somewhere, because
or like there's a Scooby-Doo poster.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you see almost everybody who is in the first, I guess the third act technically, but the first act of the movie. And
there it is. Yeah.
I think you see all of them somewhere in like the crowd, either watching the dance scene or at the end as Chuck is walking away.
But you see a lot of them in the dancing. You see Karen Gillan. You see lots of characters from the third act, which is played first as teachers, like for the dance, which are wonderful, by the way. And I want to get into the substance of those, but let's continue on first.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have had this too, like like especially like I guess as a kid, but like as you get older, like sometimes you see a face and you don't know whether you've seen that face before, or you see a face briefly and that face kind of sticks out.
It just
and,
looks familiar and it sticks out in some way. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and it's they did a really good job kind of capturing that on screen with like the girl skating first, and then like kind of just all these characters being just kind of people he sees, and especially because it's like. Of course, it's like the people he sees 9 months before, on top of like the teachers that probably played a big role, supporting role, or like, whatever in his life as a kid. Like, of course, it's like some girl skating. That's what he's going to remember, or she's going to be one of the characters in his head as he dies like 9 months later, which is I hate thinking about like mortality in the sense of like I get mortality in the sense of like you get hit by a car and instantly it's over. But like I hate thinking about like the concept of withering away over the course of something that fast. Like you have like a high point in your life. Like, that second segment's like the best day of his life, and it's like 9 months later he's dead. And there's such a
right, and it mentions that. So okay, so can we talk about the second segment? Because first of all, like outside of a movie musical, one of the best deployments of like dance as a joyful mechanism that I think I've ever seen in any movie. And I say that as someone personally, I don't care for dancing at all. I do what I do on stage, which people tell me, oh, you do that? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing on stage. I mean, I do, but I don't.
You're hopping around with your guitar.
It's a natural, what it is a natural extension of the music, right? And so it's so fantastic to see, much like Sing Sing was a mission statement of like, here's acting as an art form. That like, here's dancing as an art form that can touch people and elevate the mundane existence of the everyday into something more important and bring people out of the doldrums of just being an accountant. At an accountant conference, can you think of anything more boring than being in a conference full of accountants talk? Great, there's a symposium on integers. Wonderful.
And you're on some of the panels, but also not on some of the panels. It's like,
I mean, it sounds like
you seem like a nice guy. You want to talk about accountancy in the 21st century?
And what's crazy is like the whiplash of starting with our post-apocalyptic beginning again, Act 3, which is Chuck dying, and then you're like, we got a busker. This chick is drumming. What are we doing? What is this? The same movie that I wander into? Like what happened? And then
I'm busking my ass over here.
Oh, I'm busking here. Yeah, but it's done so well that he's just moved in the moment. And then you find out that like, oh well, this is because his grandma that he grew up with like was like a key part of her identity and like something that like kept her youthful and kept them connected. And there's all these reasons for it. But then the other woman gets dragged in who got dumped that day, and this becomes just a transcendental like I guess the reductive thing to say would be like a viral moment, but it's elegiac. It's an elegy, and it's something that I feel like. You used to see more of that like the 1940s and stuff. And I think times have become like so cynical now that we don't like we see that it has to have like some post-ironic tag to it. Right? And we don't see that here. Like it's just like, no, this is just like a crazy, wonderful moment that you hear about. Like, no, later on when he's dying, he'll forget all of these other things, but he's not going to forget this one specific moment, which is like, whoa. Heavy, and that's like the first time it lays that on you, where you're like, okay, this is maybe a little deeper than I thought it was going to be. But okay.
Like imagine the whiplash of like the best day of your life being, like 9 months before you die of cancer. Like your brain tumor takes you,
right?
And it's like you're getting headaches during that moment, but it's like you think, oh, that's just like a normal, number guy headache. The numbers are trying to get out of his head. But like, no, but he's like he's feeling his head like during the whole dance scene, and it's like, no, it's just one of my headaches. Meaning this has been going on for quite a while, assumably.
I mean, what do you think, Zach? I mean, I thought that moment was incredible. Did you?
Oh yeah, my favorite moment of the movie is the narration over him walking away from the dance. Like that just fucking destroyed me in the theater. Really, the end of each, and we'll get to the ending of the film, but the end of each act, like emotionally fucking devastated me. But that the one most of all was like, he'll be in so much pain, he'll wonder why God made the world, and then he'll remember this moment and realize that's why. Like that was just fucking like, I'm glad I saw it in a theater. I saw it at Lightbox with like 4 people in the theater, which I'm glad about because I'm pretty sure you could hear me like blubbering at that.
Yeah. It's emotional, man. Like it's in a way that like it's not cloying. It's not manipulative. No. And like, God, that is such a thin balance beam to walk.
The other
it's not materialist.
There's like this bookending kind of thing where when he introduces Chuck, he says he speaks their language, but he'd like to think that he speaks other languages too, even if he's forgotten some of the words or whatever, some of the phrases he used to know. Like that line is so good, especially said by like Nick Offerman. Like you realize who this is so fast. It's like he had all these dreams and he settled for being an accountant, which hell, that sounds like hell. That sounds terrible. You have all these dreams.
Sounds like our lives.
But it makes sense.
Your dreams.
It makes sense in the third one why that happens, right? Like,
well, and the speaking other languages, right? I mean, for someone that's like,
the language,
a term applied to me, not something I self-applied, a polymath of like someone that does many other things and works in different worlds. That very much speaks to me, and that's something that I understand immediately. And it's demoralizing sometimes. Especially when it's like, this is the most mundane thing ever. Can I just say, wild that Mark Hamill delivers one of the most pro math speeches I've ever seen in a serious motion picture. In a way where it is really good and deeply compelling, and we're like,
but it's the same speech, echoed by two characters, right? The cool guy, the old guy that he just meets. It's like, my math is good. That turns out to be the funeral director at the end of it,
which is like the guy who's the funeral director, and in the first/third part, he's the guy that's like, well, here's the reason why this is happening. Actually, the rotation of the Earth is off by like 1 micron, and it's like 2 minutes less. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter.
But like, that head fakes you. That head fakes you because you're like, they wouldn't introduce that if it's not a movie about like, it's not Stephen King's take on climate change or whatever, or like Stephen King's take on the end of the world. And it's like, they wouldn't introduce like that in detail. And then it's like, oh no, they did, just because that's what your brain does. Like that's it.
Because that's a rationalization in the way, in the way that he's reconciling his world and reconciling what's happening in it and why things are happening. And to be fair, it's a compelling soliloquy about math.
It is not hard. Get out of here, Mark Hamill. It reminds me of like having a dad that's like an architect. Like it's some shit. Like I hate math. I hated doing math homework. And like, math is art. Math is everything. It's definitely something like my dad would have said to like try to bullshit me into doing my math homework. Like
lunchtime math was the worst.
But credit not only to the writing but also the delivery. That it's like, for a second you're like, oh yeah, and then you're like, wait. No. Art is art. Math is like, no, come on, what are you doing?
He even has the Mark Hamill speech. He even has the like, when you're dancing, you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What's that? Numbers. Those are numbers.
Shall we dance? 1, 2, 3, and.
Such great casting for the grandparents. I mean, but like, so like how cool is that, right? That you got Mia Sara, you got Mark Hamill as your grandparents. I mean, fantastic. Like the whole the cast in this is just top to bottom wonderful. I love everything about it.
And he's going into the third one, right? Like he's plagued by death the entire time. Like he speed runs, like losing his parents, losing his unborn sister, losing his grandparents. Like it's a speed run through like the stuff that everybody does lose throughout their lives. But like he has it in such a short, condensed period of time. But it's like, he only lives 39 years, so 39 great years. 39 great years. Like I say, my joke I was saying to Zach is 39 great years. Too bad I'm 47. Came up with on the fly, but
that's not true though, is it?
Well, I'm an ageless vampire. That's canonically known. So
You're not fucking 47. I don't fucking believe you.
Thank you. This is why I keep inviting you back. I think that it's well done. I think that there's a lot to that. The magical realism of the room. I realize I made a few recommendations, like, I just recommend that someone that hates magical realism. Whoops. But I'm not going to say it's a small part of the movie because it's a huge part of the movie. But I don't feel like it's the key part of the movie. I don't know. Am I off base there? Like, Zach, what do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think about the room? Not the movie, the room in
the room upstairs.
39 great years, Mark.
39 great years, Mark. Go ahead, Zach.
I don't know if the room is like the core of the movie, but I do think that it's a vital part. I mean, it plays a role in all. Actually, does it play in the second act? I don't think the room.
No, it's just in the third. You do see it in the first.
You see it in the first. I know that. I know you see it in the first, and obviously, like it's all over the third act. No, I don't. I wouldn't say the room is the core of the film. I think the room. It's a plot device. No, it's not a MacGuffin because like you find out what's in the room and what's in it is actually important to the story. But Yeah, it's like a plot device, what I would call it. It moves the story forward, and it helps to tell you what the movie needs to tell you. But I don't think in and of itself, it's not. I don't think it's like the central thing of the film.
It's a metaphor, though, right? Like it's a metaphor for mortality. Like you go into the room and you like it forces you to face your mortality, which is what the entire first act is pretty much about. I mean, everyone's dropping dead around him, but like the entire movie is like it's a movie about accepting mortality and like understanding that life and death are two sides of the same coin.
Just his luck.
Yeah,
and then knowing the end and knowing even details about the end doesn't change the importance of the journey to the destination too. And that's again, that comes back to the humanism aspect of it too, right? Because the thing about humanism definitionally is that it's concerned with the enjoyment of empathetic connection to others and overcoming the miseries, mediocre and otherwise, of life, because there is only the material existence and what is left behind in your memories of others. The interiority of your mind is a universe in and of itself.
Yeah,
that dies. That literally does die.
Which
and we do indeed consider multitudes.
It's a valid question if you're doing it as kind of like if you're talking about it as a universe. It's like what happens to the characters? Like, are the characters you created in your mind like almost in their own universe? And when you die and that fades out and nobody remembers it, and the thoughts that you've had in your head and the faces you've seen, like I don't know, like when the last person that ever knows you die, it's pretty much like essentially you're dead. Like you kind of live on in people's memories. In a weird way.
As a different aspect of yourself, and writ large, that is, and it's so amazing that the great Walt Whitman, the "I Contain Multitudes" poem is in here, because I just had John Fine on from the new band We Contain Multitudes. Talk about synergy, right? On Protonic Reversal last week, but it's something that that's so intrinsic to understanding what this film is, because it's also understanding your own worth and understanding your own power, that you deserve to be wonderful, right? It's like literally a line in it's literally my subtitle. I forgot about that. And I think that's a powerful message, especially in these times that are just the worst villains are like in charge. The people that we have been assigned as our heroes keep refusing to show up for work, et cetera, et cetera. That we need reminders of that basic humanity and valuation of art and the elevation of the mundane is worthwhile and is something that's worth paying attention to, and it's worth devoting your energy to and remembering. That's huge.
I think it's the conversation that he has with his grandpa. Like there's something like almost like a little bit autistic about that character, right? Like that's not the character that you'd want to have like to give you like a like the facts of life talk. It's like he's like, look, nobody's a dancer. And let me tell you the numbers to tell you how the thing that you want to do, the thing you're really passionate about, the creativity that you really display, right? Like, it's time to punch you back down into reality, pretty much.
Well, I wrote a line about that in Villainous Circumstance, which is dreaming is useless when you're around.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the Mark Hamill character. As much as I love him, he's that kind of guy. It's like, what's the point of dreaming if you're just going to be this guy that's like crapping all over it,
Don't dream it, be it.
But he's like there's like he's like the town accountant pretty much, but like in this very old style kind of way where it's like you have a town accountant that does the books for everybody and like is able to drink himself to death in his house while doing the books. And it's like I don't know, it's kind of like almost like this sad life, but that character he clearly hates crowds. He hates he kind of hates being like around too many people. He likes just being by himself upstairs. Doing number, like, I don't know, like there's something to that character, and there's something to like parents or grandparents or whoever you're raised by seeing you almost as an extension of themselves, which in his case, he has like the creativity and like youthful passion of his grandma and the hardline numbers of his grandma, but like those characters, like, you do see those multitudes contained in him.
Did I remember right, Zach, that this is like the first Mike Flanagan thing you watched?
This is the first Mike Flanagan thing I've ever watched. I missed Gerald's game when it came out, which was in a year when I was watching a fuck ton of movies, so I don't know how I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched Midnight Mass. I haven't watched The Haunting of Hill House, and what's the other one? Bly Manor.
Yeah, and House of Usher. That's the other one.
I haven't watched Fall of the House.
Yeah, I mean, and there's also Midnight Club. I haven't seen all of them, but
I've heard that Midnight Mass and Fall of the House of Usher are like the two best.
Midnight Mass is really good. That was the first one I saw from him. I'm like, oh, who's this guy again?
I don't think I even knew. I don't think I was even aware that Gerald's Game was like him. Like I knew I had heard of that movie. I knew that it existed, but I don't think I knew until the intro just now that was actually a Mike Flanagan thing. But yeah, I haven't seen that. Obviously, I want to now. I also know that this, like, Life of Chuck is probably not representative of what I'm going to get from a lot of his other work.
Well, he's working on the Clayface movie, which I think that's a perfect match.
His other stuff is maybe not as optimistic as Life of Chuck, is what I've heard.
That's fair.
And a lot more violent too, I think.
He and Stephen King are developing like the Dark Towers series that they're going to do on Amazon Prime because they
wasn't it?
Well, they made no movie. No movie exists.
Hopefully, they're actually adapting the book series because that movie was a fucking travesty. I don't know.
There's no movie. I have no idea what you're talking about, sir.
They're doing the Shining kind of thing where it's like, you know, like a disappointing Stephen King adaptation. Mike Flanagan, he's like, I love this guy.
Yeah, The Shining was actually good. Let's be real here.
But the thing is, the Dark Tower is like a 7-book series with 15 tie-ins, and it's like as a totemic, like full experience of what the story is, far better than any of the Narnia books, than more consistent than the Oz books. Up there with Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, frankly, because the Silmarillion sucks. Sorry, peace and love to everybody. But the idea that you could condense it into like one movie, it was frankly just not understanding what the.
It has ties to it. It has ties to just a lot of different Stephen King books.
The Stand. I mean, it's something. It's in a way his ultimate work, but it needs to be in the era of streaming storytelling, long form storytelling. It's perfect. It's perfect for that because there's so much of it. As long as it's handled with like love and care and attention. And there was no movie. Didn't exist.
He's also working on a new Exorcist movie, which they just keep making.
What do we have to do with these?
And then also they're doing a series based on Carrie, with him.
Like Carrie.
Have we not said all that we can say with Carrie adaptations? Like, even again, I love this movie and I want to check.
Yeah, but they want Carrie to be overweight this time, and I'm like, okay.
What ground have we not covered with Carrie?
I don't know.
Cyberbullying. We got to make her fat.
Literally, that's literally the only comment I get every time. It's like, make her overweight. She's chubby. She's this. Sissy Spacek was too pretty, and I'm like, she was like anorexic. So.
All right, for super chat from the comments. RIP Ozzy Osbourne, Sabbath's first 5-6 LPs are fire. Completely agreed, Stevie. RIP to a real one. I will say at least he got to go out last week doing like was $180 million raised for Parkinson's disease and doing like basically the coolest show anyone could ever do with all of his friends and all the people that were inspired by Black Sabbath and his music. So not bad.
Guys, check your bats for fentanyl before you bite them.
I think it's completely possible that was
and Dubs
was a choice as well when you think about how advanced his Parkinson's was, because he couldn't do opiates for what I can only assume is obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that he got to do like his final show like 2 weeks before.
And without the Osbournes, there would not be the Kardashians. Just remember when it comes.
But don't blame that on him.
Yeah, that's not fair. To put it on the
it sounds like
you're saying he could have been put in the Hague for causing that.
They've all been incarcerated. Yeah, I don't know. They're all all the Kardashians. If I was president, I would Black said every Kardashian. Anyway, moving on.
The thing about the Osbournes that I always thought was really funny is you can't fucking understand a word that Ozzy could say by that point, right? Like his mumbling had gotten so bad, and then his wife was like, "Will you shut the fuck up? You are talking too much and too loud." And like
he's still done
that's such a funny like odd couple kind of thing. Where it's like you can't understand a word he says, and you wish that you couldn't understand a word that she says.
Back to Life of Chuck. It's crazy to me that like when I heard about this movie, I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. Mike Flanagan, like Tom Hiddleston, I like a lot. You know, Mike Flanagan like doing something that isn't horror. That's interesting. You know, like this sounds like, you know, could be like good stuff. I was completely blown away. And I went into it with pretty high expectations, and I was like, all right, I'll go see this. We'll see. You know, it's probably not going to be what I want it to be. And it really was. And I think that, again, amazing child actor work as well. Like I feel like every segment could have been its own movie, and it's kind of its own style as well. And I think that that's so hard to pull off unless you're doing an anthology.
I was trying to think about like the second one kind of reminds me of like Stranger Than Fiction, the Will Ferrell movie where he's being tortured by his narrator.
That's right. It's a great version of the Reckless Eric song in there that he sings too.
And there's something so like the third segment, right? There's something so sweet and like down to earth and like old style about it. Like there's like I feel like it almost does what like I wanted the Fablemans to kind of do, but didn't do. Like
yes, okay, sure, yeah, I'm with it. And again, that's that's showing dance as an art, as a form of expression. And it's not my form of expression. It's not my art, but like it doesn't need to be, because it's anything that shows art done eloquently, in a way, it will be universal. And that it is here. And it's something where you even get to see the fact that, like, you know, there's a height difference, right? Like going back to materialists, height's everything.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's deployed so well. I think the usage of, you know, the song usage is fantastic. It's something where if there's one thing I could say is like, well, they knew when, and it echoes the line of like, they knew not to, you know, let it go on too long. They knew when to quit, right? Which is also happens in the second segment as well. That's the one thing. It's like, they're kids. Would they really know when to quit? But anyway, that's fine.
Like,
let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
like he has such good intrinsic performing timing, right? Like, but I guess that's also numbers. So
I know people my age haven't figured that out. So I don't think we necessarily assume that a kid would be able to figure that out. But that's, I mean, but it works contextually with the magic of the story and the moment, which is very relatable, because everyone's been in that position of feeling like, you know, I'm a creep, I don't belong here mindset. And then like to have the ability to transcend and really turn it around in a way that is beautiful and fantastic, and also tied to like someone that you love that's no longer around. How wonderful and poignant is that? Yeah,
but then to also get beaten down into like doing the most mundane job that, you know, like it's depressing. They're like,
so contextually that makes the second segment all the sadder and also more elegiac at the same time, because it is he's just like he's literally hanging out at a conference full of accountants. I mean, it's like, man, I'm sorry, do you have insomnia? Yeah, go hang out with those guys. They'll sort that right out.
And it's got to suck.
They're boring. That's the joke. They're boring and will make you go to sleep.
It's got
like half the panel apparently. Okay.
No, but it's got to suck so much. You know you have like your that son seems great, and like his wife is so loving, and it's like you're stuck in a room full of accountants, and you're like, please kill me now. Like,
imagine.
I'm doing
this about actuarial tables. Jesus Christ.
But like it's one of those.
Still been in a coma just talking about it.
That apparently the panels are all made up with just audience members. Like they're like, oh, you want to be on another panel this week before you leave? Accountancy of the 21st century is so good.
Panels are made up of people from Jubilee.
Is that like are they doing the numbers or how many people they can fit on each train going to the concentration camp?
Oh boy. Okay, all right.
I don't know. I felt like that whole third segment of, I mean, there's something very, very like the height difference between them, right? Like there's a time in like middle school where girls like shoot up, like the girls are gonna be tall at least, like they're suddenly really tall. And he's in like 6th grade, which is like before guys get that growth spurt. and that dichotomy is so well, like captured there. With he's literally like a foot shorter than she is, and they're dancing together.
I used to be the tallest girl in my class until 6th grade.
Yeah. Are you saying
all the boys were jealous of me, and then they laughed in my face, even though I did not make fun of them for being taller than them in elementary school?
You didn't say, "How's the weather up there?"
Yeah, seriously.
But like that, like I don't know, like that is like that's like a real thing where it's like, you're like, oh, she's in 8th grade. You're like a 6th grader, and you're like a foot shorter than she is. You're like, she's in 8th grade.
Yeah. A lot of those 6th grade boys going after 8th grade girls, and it's like, oh, you're adorable. Her boyfriend looks like
a 16-year-old that's been held back a few times.
As always.
He's like mean mugging the two of them, and they're like dancing, and then she like kisses him in front of the guy, and it's like, I thought that guy was gonna beat his ass, which is the story.
Oh, absolutely.
How he got the scar.
That's the cover story of the scar. Which how cool of a scene is that, right? Like where it's like you get this kid. This is like not even like an adult being freed of the accounting conference. This is a kid having like this epiphany of that, and it's something that like every kid would probably serve to benefit. The transcending your own neuroses and your social placement and like your height in your class and so on, to be like, I did something cool and I felt good about it, and like I am in this world and I exist. Amazing. And I keep hammering home these points because I feel like it's like pearls before swine for most of the movie-going audience. Like, they were talking about the Minecraft movie was like one of the biggest movies this year. Are you fucking kidding me? What are we doing? Yeah. Minecraft? Jesus Christ!
Well, there's the
it is still the biggest.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. You know what, Zach? I will never watch it. There's no chance.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
It's not.
I am Minecraft. Why would I watch a movie about it?
But I'm not like.
But I was saying is that these are messages. These are deeply powerful, humanistic messages that we need to hear in our culture right now.
And they will get snubbed.
But it's in a Mike Flanagan movie. Some people are like, yeah, whatever. Somebody gets their head chopped off, right? No, I swear it doesn't.
This is like this is probably one of the least Mike Flanagan movies. If you can.
That's why I think it's crazy that this is the first one Zach's seen.
Yeah, that's the thing. I understand that this is not.
It's a little bit of an outlier.
What I should come to expect from his other stuff when I go back and cycle through it.
Yeah, but it also
makes.
I
kind of love that too. Like I mean, that's a great experience.
It's one of the least, but like Kristina's point, like it's one of the least Stephen King. Like, I mean
that too.
Yeah, so it's like
as is Shawshank.
Yeah. But I mean, like, but even something like Shawshank, right? Like, you're like, all right, this is one of his like classic kind of like mystery, like gritty kind of, not like, this isn't even that. This is like a, like this feels like one of the stories are light, one of the stories are dark as fuck because you're like, what the fuck is happening during this? And then the last one's kind of like melancholy and I don't know. I feel like it's interesting watching somebody that like it's so not Mike Flanagan and it's so not Stephen King, really. Like it
and I feel like and we pointed this out before, but some of the best Stephen King's adaptations are those like non-horror, a few of them at least. And
like, it tends to be his novellas. They tend to be like him playing with the form a little bit, right?
Yeah, they're trying to remake Care. I mean,
I mean, like, why? Like, how? Why are we? Stop! Everybody, stop! Just stop until we can figure this all out. I think
very woke.
You know what I mean? It's just like, why is that what we're worried about? Like, I don't know. Like it's and so to see something that's so full of nuance and depth, and which is a powerful message that isn't preachy, but is empowering in its way, and to know that it's just going to be like, this is just doomed. Like, maybe it'll get like a cursory Oscar nomination. That'd be astounding if it did, because again, the Oscar voters are going to assume it's horror, and it's not. Yeah, exactly. Editing or something, sure. Which it is well edited, don't get me wrong. But it's just, it goes back to, remember when we talked about Uncut Gems? They're like a bunch of people, Uncut Gems, yeah. Then a bunch of people were like, I know what that is. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't.
It's an Adam Sandler movie. It's going to suck.
Yeah, they assumed they knew what it was, and they made value.
Before I watched this Adam Sandler movie, what could go wrong?
No, that movie I'd watch.
It's the middle of COVID. I'll take an edible and watch this Adam Sandler movie. It'll be a real fun time, and I won't have any anxiety at all.
But that's the expectations of yeah, exactly. 2 hours later, but that's what I'm saying is that people are so locked into. People are so assured, whether they have any right to be assured or not, about so many things. And what this movie does is sort of play with that idea of, well, what, and again, it goes back to Carl Sagan. It goes back to Cosmos. It goes back to talking about the Stellar Day segment, which is like echoed throughout. And you see the actual Carl Sagan Cosmos appear like in the movie as well. And I think that it's just,
and he's just kind of watching it while it's just kind of happening in his head, right? Like he's watching it with his grandpa, but like not really paying that much attention.
It's just like subconscious and subcutaneous, and it's all so much more important than talking about why or why not there will be a Carrie remake or whatever. None of that matters. None of that matters. It's not important. And what is important is that we are tasked and trialed every day with the most worst, oppressive, most deeply depressing things that could possibly happen. We are being ruled by our enemies. And again, our pointed protectors are nowhere to be found, right? So to have a reminder that life can be more than just a series of mediocre miseries is very important. And that's what this movie does incredibly eloquently.
And like, I don't know, like, I mean, I think that there's a moment of life, like a real life in that dance scene, which I used
to see in the 40s all the time, and we just don't see that now.
I definitely
I've seen plenty of TikTok edits of Tom Hiddleston dancing to Rasputin.
He dances all the, like, I was trying to find, there's a video of him dancing on set.
He's like Sam Rockwell.
Don't ask Sam Rockwell to dance. I was trying to find the video of him dancing on set. And I typed in Tom Hiddleston dancing. Big mistake. Apparently he dances all the time. It just
he does.
He loves it. He dances more than anybody.
Yeah, he's so good at it.
Yeah.
He's got the body. He's got like the Fred Astaire figure, but they don't want to do Fred Astaire movies because they said no.
But I feel like his dancing is like improvised. Like it's
he knows how to like. It's great, but I feel like if you go to like a acting college, particularly like in the UK, you probably might learn how to dance. I don't know.
Or like, I mean, like, from a little bit of experience, going to like a school that had like arts and stuff, like for middle school or whatever. Like dance is one of the things that they teach you, like interpretive dance. Bitch, I don't care what you're interpreting. I don't want to learn to dance.
Well, that's how Tom Holland did Billy Elliot, I think, in the West End, because he did a lot of the dancing too. Like when he did that lip sync battle, my mom was like, "I thought that was a woman at first, but that was a man. That was Tom Holland." I'm like, "Yep."
But this is like
man, baby.
This is not like the highly choreographed. I mean, it's like it's good dancing, but it's like it's a more improvised, like street style of dance. Well, not like when they say street style dance, they mean like break dancing, but I don't mean that. But like it's a very like more improvised kind of style of dancing that they do in this, which of course it would be. Like it's not like you know. She's playing drums.
I love he got to do that in this film.
I love that we have a high school dance scene that incorporates a moonwalk.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It dates it
badass.
Too. It dates it in such a good way because it's like he just learned the moonwalk. His gym teacher hasn't even heard about the moonwalk. Her mind was blown. She loves that kid now. That kid taught her about the moonwalk for the first time.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like
Uncle Michael taught me how to moonwalk. I still don't know how to do it.
That is like a very. I mean, I remember being a kid and trying to figure out how to moonwalk like that. Like I feel like every kid, as soon as the moonwalk came out, right? As soon as Michael Jackson started doing it, I feel like since then every kid's watched TV and tried to force themselves to learn how to do the moonwalk.
It's all in the shoes and the floor.
I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. Anyway, moving on. Look, I think that there is something. This is a hard movie to describe, right? Because like other than the fact that like me just opine to anyone they'll listen, like go watch Life of Chuck, and they're like, "What is that?" First of all, like just with the title, it's like, what is that? I don't know what that is. That could be anything. Is that a romantic comedy? I don't know. Not really. No.
It could be a horror movie.
But if you mention Mike Flanagan or Stephen King, like, okay. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not that. I swear.
Yeah, Chuck's gonna start chucking heads. Is that why it's called one?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
All his life.
Don't worry. There's
a house that Jack built. Remember that one?
The origin story for Chucky. This is like the guy Chucky is based on.
Yeah, and what are you gonna say in response to any of that, right? You know, it's like, oh yeah, don't worry. There's a Walt Whitman reference in here. Oh great, yeah, I'll rush right out to the theater.
There's an impromptu dance scene. Checkmate, horror readers.
Yeah, exactly. God, nailed them. You know, it's like, okay, no, you didn't.
It is. I sometimes I think about like in the old days, like their version of entertainment, like you just see a guy recite like a Walt Whitman poem or something in like the town square. And everyone's like, guys, the new Walt Whitman poem just dropped. And like a guy that reads really well, that knows how to read verse, like reads it to the town square. They're like, I love that. Today was great. This is the best day of my life.
Well, but getting back to that mindset, right? That's why why the second segment works so well. That again, this would be like a viral moment, right? If we were thinking about cynically of this, like this guy's just dancing to this drumming busker, and out of nowhere, and then like this chick gets involved, and they could take this show on the road, but they're not, and it's such a pure and honest moment that no one can really describe where or why, but you're witnessing something special.
Well, I love the descriptions of each of these characters in that segment, and it's like, you know,
right? They each have their own.
Her parents are paying a fucking arm and a leg for Juilliard, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to overthink all my art. I want to bust so bad." So she goes out there on the weekends and is dropped out of Juilliard, and she's making her money, you know, playing the drums, and she makes enough money to keep, like, you know, pay her rent or whatever. And it's like
because she's played. Even though it's one instrument, she's playing music, and music has the ability to transcend the constituent parts of the people playing what it is. So,
but a different kind of,
not saying it's always like that. Some days you're just
different kind of music than the like organized, like establishment man form of music that you would learn at like an arts school, right? Like it's the kind of music that a school can't teach you, and it's like,
you know who would have done well in Juilliard? Chuck.
Yeah, there's a different version of this where his grandma doesn't die in the middle of his childhood, and she encourages him to keep dancing.
And Chuck is like version.
Chuck is a dance star. He still dies at 39 though.
The dance.
I don't know. It's like that description of her as like this Juilliard like dropout that doesn't want to tell her parents that she dropped out and is now making her money.
Dropout.
Kind of like going around.
Well, but everybody has like, even the people on this screen, we all have like our lived experiences and like worlds that we come from, and like the context of that both does and doesn't matter for what we are doing right now. Because what we're trying to do, especially me, is to make something transcend more than the constituent parts of what it is, and to become something greater within the context of the larger tapestry of art. Now, a lot of times that doesn't happen. And again, can't diss on the accounting conference hard enough that probably nothing like that is happening at the accounting conference. You know what I mean? So the fact that like this guy's literally, he's not aware of it, but he's about to die, you know, at least within like a segment of months, that like he gets to have this truly transcendental experience that is basically happenstance and chance. That is beautiful. And that again, it's elegiac. And I think that's something that we don't, we live in cynical times, my friends. You know, like, and that's,
everything sucks. Nothing's getting better. Stop saying it gets better. It doesn't, because everyone's bending the knee to fascists, and, you know, stop saying it's going to get better. It's not.
Well, I don't agree with that. And the postscript to all of that, though, is that like having to have a response to that baked into the thing is one of the things of poisoning art. Why, for me, one of the reasons why the gun Superman works so well is because it doesn't try to do that. It's not trying to react against anything. It's trying to point the fact, like, look, this is a fundamentally good dude. He could be a Homelander. He could rule the entire Earth. He chooses not to because he's a good person. And I think we need to
He chooses to save squirrels because he's a good person.
He saves a freaking squirrel, right?
They wanted to take that out. Test audience didn't like that. I'm like, no more test audiences.
Yeah, some goofy little bastard. They'd probably be all, have you seen squirrels get pissed off? It's hilarious. Anyway,
all those squirrels are yelling. Don't know anything.
So, but what I'm saying is, when you get something very open-hearted like this, but is self-aware in a way that is not the way that everybody's poisoned to be self-aware, I think it's very special and unique and interesting. And I think it's worth noting and celebrating. And I think it's a hard sell to people. And I think that's too bad, because it's, and all we can do is like what we're doing right now, right? We're telling people about this movie. Hey, I think this movie's good. Obviously, we're sitting here spending a couple hours talking about it. Opining about this, that, and the other thing. But we could go for just a stone cold gets all we want. And I like doing those kinds of things as well. But it's nice to be able to advocate for something that has a powerful humanistic message. I heard Flanagan say like something along the lines, if you want to make something like for a kid, right? It was like, well, there you go. You did. That's beautiful.
I liked, there's something about like not thinking about things too much in this, where it's like, she didn't want to overthink her music, right? So she's busking and she's going with the flow. And of course, like, the beautiful Nick Offerman, like, oh, it feels good. She's doing it. She all day. Like his narration where he's being so cool. He's like, and she might hit. I love that
but everything he's saying is correct, and it's like there's the point of playing music where you're like, I'm playing the music, I'm doing the part, I'm doing the thing, and then. If you're lucky and or actually if you're not lucky, if you luck balance the skill. If you're skilled enough and you're confident enough in what you're doing and the conditions are right, it does become something different. It really does. It's one of the reasons why I keep doing it, man. I
love that as he walks up, he's like, she could start hitting a little Tom, but like what feels right for this guy walking up, like she's really trying to get the group, focusing on like one person as they walk up, and then he like doesn't even know why he stops. Like I mean, and it's like pre-programmed that like I'm gonna stop here, I'm gonna drop my briefcase, and I'm gonna start dancing. And then that girl is on her way home and she's really pissed off, and she kind of just starts moving along with his dancing, and like just because it's something cool, like you're watching an accountant. Like, that guy's clearly an accountant. You look at him, you're like, oh, that's an accountant. But he's dancing, and when something like that happens, everyone gathers around because it's like, what is this? Like, what is going on? And it's like that she's drawn into it, and it's like this thing where it's like not thinking about things too much sometimes is the right move. Like,
well, and I think you're right, and
creative instinct.
And we live in a culture where everybody overthinks everything all the time.
Yeah,
always.
Especially me.
Anxiety. Killing me. Whatever that song is.
I'm in this photo and I don't like it.
Exactly. Well, but that's what makes this potentially powerful. In the way that you can take it on the face of it for the narrative experiences that are being shown to us in the story. And those are wonderful, and those are great, and those are something that's worth, obviously I think it's worth paying attention to, because we're literally doing an episode of the show. But it goes beyond that, right? Because I think some of the best kinds of art will make you reevaluate existence and how and when you enjoy things, and can take you out of the mindsets that keep you from enjoying things, and remind you that, again, it's just this one tiny part of the calendar. One day is all of human existence. It's like, oh yeah, all right. I guess maybe this isn't so important. I kind of thought it was, but
if there's one thing I hate is the fun police. Like, we're trying to have a good time, trying to have fun, and then someone's like, well, you can't be having fun. There's a lot of horrible things going on in the world. And I'm like, oh my God, let me enjoy my movie.
Well, it's like my brain is already doing that all the time. Like, having another person do it, I hate that person, because I'm like,
just overkill, really.
My brain is already doing this. Like, I don't need you to do this.
Exactly. Please, I don't need your criticisms. I'm my own worst critic.
My own worst enemy.
There's something like
I'm surprised the theater kids have not glommed onto this too. By the way, I'm really surprised at that. But I think
where's the TikTok dancing trend? The Chuck dance? I don't know. Like, what?
It's great dancing. I'm not even a dancing dude.
Every other dance that Tom Hiddleston's done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Guys, new Tom Hiddleston dance just dropped.
I got Rasputin stuck in my head now. Because I was watching just all the different videos of him dancing, and a lot of them are just him dancing to Rasputin by Boney M. So it's like,
well, because he did that he did that like an award show or something too, right? Like there's a bunch of one like
I think it was like a talk show, but
right.
yeah, he did the split. I was like, damn.
He's good at doing the kind of talk show dancing where you come out. He like play to the crowd.
Sam Rockwell's also good at that too. Like he'll just start dancing on like Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, why does that have to be Jimmy Fallon you're dancing with though?
But it seems like Tom Hiddleston in a way like has done enough dance that he's like, you know, with Sam Rockwell, it always feels like he's just kind of going with whatever's in his head. Whenever he's like,
well, also too, he played Bob Fosse, so he played a choreographer, so he knows the thing. But I think now would be a good time for Tom Hiddleston because he did his own singing on the Hank Williams movie that was not good. He could do musical theater. He could do a movie adaptation of something, maybe Company, something good. Like I don't know, but like,
well, he can sing, he can dance. What more do you need? I mean, like we need to juggle too. What are we doing here?
Hello, Hollywood. You got opportunity here. You know. Like I just feel like it's taken so long, and Conan, you can agree that Hollywood never really got to utilize his talent because being stuck in the MCU kind of trapped him. But now I feel like he's been around long enough to actually do what he can, like show his like diverse skills.
It's funny because it's like at different points as Loki, he's trapped in like different worlds. Like they keep trying to trap him, and the actual Tom Hiddleston is trapped in the MCU. Like.
I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Hiddleston is like, and I don't know if you guys have watched this, but Hiddleston's like breakout role was Wallander, which is Kenneth Branagh starring and direct and like I can't remember if Branagh directed it, but he cast him in Thor off of that. So Tom Hiddleston had like his first breakthrough.
Yeah, he auditioned for Thor,
and then immediately got the MCU off of that, and then the MCU was like a decade of his life. So. Yeah. That's kind of part, and then right as he thought he was out of the MCU, then they're like, "We're gonna make an entire television show that's centered around you,"
which is great. But everyone was completely burned out on that entire world, and they they assume I know what that is. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm like, first of all, no, you don't. It's actually wildly entertaining, but I get it. I was burned out on all that stuff too.
Yes,
I mean, I
that's sad. Anyway,
I love the first season of it, and I still haven't watched the second season. Like 2.5 years later,
I think the second season's better.
So much. I know. Yeah. I've heard universally the second season's better. I just haven't had the time to watch 8 episodes or whatever it is of.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy that a lot of people thought, well, Loki's dead. This is the end. But then he gets the Tesseract or whatever. So it's like, oh, he's gonna be with us forever. I'm like, till you're 90.
Well, Zach, do you know the Benson and Moorhead movies? So Something in the Dirt, The Endless, Synchronic, Spring, Resolution, so on and so on.
Something in the Dirt sounds familiar. I think
Something in the Dirt's the most recent one that came out 2022, but they're basically like the kings of this like very specific kind of like lo-fi sci-fi. Very interesting. Synchronic holds to this day. Has Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan in it. It has a very specific time travel conceit, and it basically is the only one I've ever seen address time travel while black.
Yeah, I haven't. I just looked at I looked at the like whatever 6-7 films. I haven't watched any.
Martin and Benson are good.
All their stuff is good. I still have to watch all those VHS films. I haven't watched a single one of those.
Oh yeah.
I know those are like a cult.
Yeah, those are cool. I mean, for me, it's like The Endless, Resolution, Spring, Synchronic, Something that are probably how I'd rank them. But they're all super interesting. But it's one of those things where, like in a better world, they'd be able to just like make these like with a studio budget because they've like, oh, these guys have shown that like they make these entertaining movies.
Yeah.
And they make money like based on their budget and whatnot. But it's like, no, the only way they could get into it is they're like on like. You know, they wrote some of the Moon Knight show and they wrote like Loki season 2. And it's like, yes, those things are great, but like people are not, you don't even get to know the names of the creator.
I will say this too, Conan, you will agree that they actually utilize actors who don't get to shine, like Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan, you know, 50 Shades of Grey and
Daredevil Born Again too. They did a couple episodes of the Daredevil Born Again show.
I was going to say.
Which I also have to watch still.
Very good. It's very good.
Yeah, it's just there's too much.
You're right,
again, even the stuff that's great, just there's too much there's too much superhero stuff that is small screen now, and I think we need to get away from that trend.
Nah,
except for Peacemaker, I'm ready for next season of that. That's okay.
Yeah,
Peacemaker's awesome.
I haven't seen that either. Like
Peacemaker's badass.
I love it,
and it's badass in a way that most TV shows are not too. Like there's a specificity to it. Like I'm not here to talk about Peacemaker. I'm here to talk about Life of Chuck. Peacemaker is very good.
All right, Life of Chuck. John Cena is the
that would be the worst movie of the year.
He's actually not a bad actor.
He's okay
no,
actor.
but
it's
I'm
not the
sorry.
same pathos. I'm sorry.
I know.
He's an
He's
accountant.
able to convey emotions.
I would love to see John Cena try to convince us that he's an accountant.
I would like to see him. So the only way it would work would be Chuck, but he does the part of young Chuck, but as himself now. And everyone's talking about how short he is. He's wearing that little schoolboy outfit.
He's
Great.
like
They
5'7".
can do it. They can do it like in the Naked Gun trailer, where Liam Neeson is like the schoolgirl or whatever, and he like
Yeah.
That's right.
I can't wait for that movie.
I think I don't know. Jason Statham is the Mark Hamill role.
Oh, wait.
And John Cena is young young Chuck now on CBS.
Boy, so the thing about mathing is it's art, right? Okay. No, we are not going to do that right now. In fact, what we are going to do is talk about Letterboxd, because Letterboxd is a social media site film lovers talk at with and to each other about the movies that they love, maybe the movies that they didn't love, and maybe the movies they were just talking about how great Tom's dancing was. And of course, it's a bottom-up democracy. Everybody gets to have their say. Everyone gets to chime and opine about the movies that they love. And this is best done succinctly. It's for the purposes of this bit, where they're collected weekly by yours truly. Bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. That's what this is. This is the Life of Chuck. Letterboxd one-liners. Let's roll them. A monologue romanticizing accounting is the true horror jump scare of the film.
Amen.
Well, there's like a thing that like I don't know, like I don't know if you guys about like this always really pissed me off as a kid, because it always felt really it always felt really condescending, but like people try to connect with you by like try to connect the thing that you're supposed to be doing to like things you like. So it's like,
you know what the real punk rock is. Accounting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, you like dancing. Well, you know what dancing really is? It's numbers, and it's like I'm gonna
get the fuck
I'm
away
gonna
from
kill
me,
you, Grandpa. Grandpa, if the drinking doesn't kill you, I will.
Solid diss. Get it? He drinks. Mike Flanagan knows what the girls want. Existential hope and Tom Hiddleston dancing like taxes are doing.
Yeah.
That's what he does every tax week. He's like,
happy days are here again.
Yeah.
He's the dancing accountant. Like, I can see somebody doing that as like a regional bit, like on TV or whatever. Like, I'm the dancing.
Oh my god. Dude, there's so many commercials like that in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I swear, every lawyer has their own freaking.
Yeah, well,
it's annoying.
For like when we drove through, and like in like Milwaukee too, like there's always like they're trying to outdo each other for how like weird and abstract their lawyer bit.
They got the hip hop. I hate it.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is the hip hop accountant.
So can we just say what Kristina says is they got the hip hop ... I hate it. Is what Kristina just said. Okay.
Yeah,
but
like, they really hire rappers to do the jingles for them, and I'm like, oh my god.
Would you rather they rap themselves?
They do rap themselves too in the commercial with the rappers, and I'm like, what is this?
Like, decently close to Atlanta, so of course they do that. Like, everyone has to.
I will say this: this is why streaming is living on and basic cable is dying, and local news, local television.
That's the reason. That's why. Huh?
Yeah, those stupid lawyer commercials.
I think like more than any other show ever, like Better Call Saul so captured like the spirit of one of those guys that does those kinds of commercials and like puts way too much effort into those commercials.
They did that in Gerald Hospital for one of the lawyers, and it was funny as hell too.
Next. Never before has a movie made me feel so indescribably big and so terrifyingly small at the same time. Thanks, Chuck.
Wow, Forrest, did you do this one?
No, I remember like as a kid that Carl Sagan thing. Like I think it blanked it out of my mind because I didn't necessarily like thinking about it. But like
Neil deGrasse Tyson did a remake of Cosmos that is not as good, but also was good, despite Neil deGrasse Tyson being a nerd that should be put into a garbage can.
There's like there's like this bit that like people have done about the Carl Sagan thing where it's like they do that whole thing where it's like, you know, they actually describe like the size of the universe and everything, and it's like, so what? I cheated on you. What? It's not a big deal. Like,
all right. So not even Luke Skywalker convinced me math is cool.
I screen grabbed it. I screen grabbed it and I have it right now as my as my like whatever, like when I turn the camera off of that, like, you know, that screen or whatever. He has the same face when he pushes Chuck out of the way of the door and he sees himself in there. He has the same face as when he goes, the sacred text.
I didn't realize that the grandpa in this and Luke Skywalker in the sequels has the same character arc. He has a pupil who he tries ways of life, who almost gets roped into the dark side, and then he in this case dancing is the dark side. Pulls him away from the opening the door and looking in the room.
Oh yeah.
He pulls him away. And then he fucking dies. And then they go towards the dark side anyway. As soon as he's out of the picture.
I always felt like as a kid like I was like death is terrifying. I think now as an adult the brain tumor thing is way more fucking terrifying. But I always used to be like, what if you're like by yourself and all of a sudden you're like, oh, my arm, and it's a heart attack and no one's around, and like, so like there's, I don't know, like it connected to me like that. That's how I assumed, like I'm like, what if that happens one day, like it's like a neuroses or whatever, and it's like that's literally how Mark Hamill dies in this. Like it's completely undignified. Like he's by himself for like 2 hours. Like it's not like if he could have saved his life if he had come home like 2 hours later, like, or 2 hours earlier. You know what I mean? Like the kid just happens to be doing band practice and dancing on stage. Dancing killed Mark Hamill.
Also, I have to say, and granted, I'm speaking as someone who hasn't had one, but looked into it a little bit. That was an incredibly, like, that to me stands up with like of all things Superman 78 as one of the most realistic movie heart attacks that I've watched.
Oh,
yeah. Where like it, you know, like I've read about like the pain. A lot of times the pain shoots up your like left arm first.
Yeah.
You tense up and you think something terrible, and then there's like a moment of like it goes out of your body, and you think, and then all of a sudden your heart just fucking, you know, does what it, and then you're on the ground. I don't see that in movies very often. I was you know, I liked the way that Mark Hamill performed that. It was just it was really fucking harrowing. Way more harrowing than just like someone clutches their chest and collapses at the ground and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to say when I was like, yeah, like I always remember also like as a kid like wondering like my arm would hurt really bad, like pain would shoot up, and I'd be like, that's my right arm, right? Like not my left arm. Okay, thank God. Like like I don't know. There's he has his like final heart attack. That is like kind of how it happens. Like you have that arm pain, you don't really know what's going on, and then you realize like, oh, it's the big one. But there's also smaller heart attacks, and like, you know, like it's very possible to like, there's people that have had like 3 heart attacks. It's all about luck, right? Like, is your luck good? Like, is somebody around to call 911? And it's like, yeah, well, he seems to only have them in public places.
He's had how many heart replacement surgeries? My God.
I think he had 2 heart replacement surgeries, but he seems to only have heart attacks in a large public space.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where think about when people die, right? Where it's like, who had it on their bingo card that Dick Cheney would outlast Ozzy Osbourne? You know, not me.
Yeah,
I know that's depressing, but
who had it on their bingo card that fucking Chuck Grassley would outlast? Ozzy Osbourne.
Don't get me started on that.
I don't know. I knew
Pelosi, Mitch McConnell.
Hey, it comes in threes. Remember
McConnell.
that.
That's what I want to know.
We lost the son from the Cosby Show. We lost Ozzy Osbourne. Who's next? Maybe a politician? I don't know. But I killed the queen, so fingers crossed.
We'll pick a politician then. Say a politician that you want to work.
Dick Cheney, Chuck Grassley. We said 2. What do you want? Like a third one? What are we trying to do? Get like a fucking carpool together?
What about Donald Trump, man? Like, what the hell? When's it gonna happen?
What's the real benefit of Cheney croaking now? Like, what is that? Cheney croaking 20 years ago would have been great. Cheney croaking now is just like, oh well,
finally,
dead. Like it just it's not.
There's got to be like a
thing for the better, really. Whereas, like, if someone like Grassley dies, there's a tangible positive effect.
We need someone who's currently in office.
There's got to be, but it's never somebody that's in office, right? Like it's always 20 years later than you need them to drop dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because some of the ones in office keep like falling down flights of stairs and shit, and then they don't die.
See, but Mark Hamill in this movie would have, if he had fallen down the stairs, he would have just died. Like that's the kind of character he was.
Guess I'll die. All right, next. My parents would definitely be sending me to school during the apocalypse. Yo.
But
that's easy to forget about. They're at school. They're like, oh, we're grading all this stuff by hand. Okay, well, you're grading.
The teacher's still trying to like give them the parent teacher conference, and everyone's like, dude, we're not focused on this.
Yeah, our children don't have futures. Neither do we.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Future? What's that? The
rapper?
rapper?
I can't focus on this. Our children don't have Pornhub.
The George Bush.
Things that matter, right?
Is the Pornhub conversation? Is that the first dialogue exchange in the movie?
It's not the first, but it's like the first 5 minutes for sure.
Yeah.
But you
can't log into Pornhub without an ID now. So I mean, hello.
It's the George Bush. Is our children learning? But is our children gooning?
All right. Okay.
Jesus.
Oh, sure. When Tom Hiddleston dances in public, people call it cinematic and life affirming. But when I do it, they call the police. Friend of the show, Jared Skolnick.
Well, because it's about context, right? Like dancing at a funeral, maybe you don't want to do that, but unless the person requests it. Dancing when you see somebody busking their ass for you,
Exactly.
You also don't want to dance at a funeral if it's your mom and you're a cop.
That's true.
Thunder Road reference there for.
That's good. We got to cover that someday. Speaking of busking, I will definitely put money in the hat of the next busker I see.
This movie has good busker representation.
By the way, the hat is the hat from Dr. Sleep from Rebecca Ferguson's character.
The hat. Yeah. I thought it looked familiar. I was like, wait, I've seen this hat before.
Not in this movie, but I guess a big thing with Mike Flanagan's movies, there's this mirror that is the mirror that he used from Oculus, and he just kept putting it for before he did the Stephen King movies, all of his original movies, he would put the mirror in the background, and there's a whole Reddit thing of people being like, "Yo, that's the mirror."
There it is. I see it.
Also, speaking of the busking scene and like needle drops and stuff, can I just say fucking Taylor Gordon, who is not an actor by trade, is a professional full-time drummer. Killed that role in this movie. The drumming's amazing, obviously, and it's all real and it's all in camera because she's doing it. But
what she has to do is large micro expressions and stuff. Like, all right, she does this kind of like, huh. Okay, which is literally just like a movement of the eyes, and it's like, it's so good, man, it's so good.
Fucking remake Whiplash and have Taylor Gordon play the main character. I'm serious.
There you go. Yeah,
I would watch that movie 1,000,000 times.
First of all, just learn the fact that there is a drum magazine. It's a magazine just for the drumming trade, I guess.
Oh, there's like 3. There's like Modern Drummer. There's a bunch of them. Yeah.
So they wrote her up in Drum Magazine. I guess her name is the Pocket Queen. That's what they call her.
Pocket Queen.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yep. Need Nick Offerman to narrate my life too.
It's like it was funny. Like you realize how little you're really doing one day. He's like, he got up and he
Forrest decided to doom scroll on Twitter for another 20 minutes. Okay, actually now I want to go like hire Nick Offerman and do like a cameo or something to actually do that. But I don't have the money.
He got up
What
and realized.
are you talking about?
He got up and realized it was 5 p.m. and he should probably get up. He walked and poured himself a bowl of cereal, and then walked into his room and fell back to sleep, leaving the cereal in the kitchen to get soggy. Next time he woke up, it was 8 p.m. and he realized he had to podcast.
He had a bunch of unread text messages. Yeah. A typical Stephen King story. A 5-headed, half iguana, half porcupine demonic ghost ate him. Standard stuff. The life of Chuck. Some accountants have swagger.
I really love the line though. He likes to think he speaks other languages too, even if he's forgotten some of the words or whatever. And it's like, damn, like if any of these like better describes like being creative and being shoved into a box, like.
Absolutely. I just watched a group of grown men cry together in an AMC. It was disgusting. I loved it.
Maybe this is the cure for the male loneliness epidemic.
Yeah,
this group of guys going and watching Tom Hiddleston dance.
If it wasn't for them saying the AMC, I would have thought that might have been the screening I was at. Because
this won TIFF last year, right? This was like their People's Choice Award.
This one TIFF 24, which made the releasing in the summer puzzling to me, because for Oscar reasons that we won't get into.
Yeah,
now.
It feels like they didn't know what to do with it, right? But
it's
what a shocker!
It's pretty funny. The two ones that aren't the documentary ones, that won the People's Choice Award at TIFF last year. This and The Substance.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Those are Letterboxd one-liners for the life of Chuck. Please follow the show at Movie Night Extra on the popular Letterboxd format, where you can find all the shows, the episodes, the movies that we cover on these episodes, along with attendant short form content, commentary, all that good stuff. Getting caught up. Finally, getting caught up. So follow us along for there. You can follow your host there at Always Flacco, Forrest Miller. The Multitude Verse is
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. He's logging all the stuff from this show and far more. Other than that, I am at Conan Neutron, who deserves to be wonderful. And you can determine that or not by visiting my letterbox at Conan Neutron. Highbrow, midbrow, populsphere. Lots of good stuff. Slightly above par for... or below par, I guess, right? For Criterion Challenge. So still doing that regularly. Follow me along for that, as well as everything else going along. Again, this movie, number 1 right now. Yet to be dethroned. And it's like, beyond top 4, it's kind of like, I'm looking. But this one's solidly number 1. At Kristina, The Life of Chris. Kristina, Cosmopolitics. He's logging many of the movies that we cover here, as well as so much more. Follow her.
Wait for my Fantastic Four one.
Are you going to go see it opening day?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're playing a show, so I'm not. So okay, I believe you. It's
gonna be a good one.
Tom Hiddleston, Zach Marsh, Zach B. Marsh on Letterboxd, one of my favorite Letterboxd dudes. Without being a Letterboxd dude necessarily. Please follow him, as well as all of the feature guests and the great friends of the show. Forrest, let's hit it with the plugs.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end, because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
Yes, indeed. Crazily enough, John Fine of the band We Contain Multitudes, which I noted earlier, was not something I had planned, but fantastic. John Fine.
Would you say his album release is large?
Yeah, exactly. He's from the band Bitch Magnet and Coptic Light, Vineland, et cetera. He also wrote a great book called Your Band Sucks. That is a really good music-related book, very entertaining. Super hyper-intelligent dude about music, great player. That band rules, and that record is low-key like one of my favorites of the year. So watch that episode, listen to it. It's out on the general feeds now. Patreon.com/Protonic Reversal for advance access, $1 a month. We'll get you all that. Coming up next, Brian from Def Club. Coming up. And then we got Steve Until of Neurosis coming up, Tim from the Maishi and Hell Yeah coming up after that. Blake Fleming of Dazzling Killman. It's going to be a very packed couple months as I get back on deck with Protonic Reversal. Those are the ones that are scheduled. There's a couple other really amazing things that I keep circling around trying to get locked down, but it's going to happen. And when it happens, it will be amazing. You can also, ProtonicVersal.com for all that. Subscribe, like, do all the things, share around episodes if you are into that kind of thing. Conan, Neutron, The Secret Friends, only summertime activities as a live band happening this weekend. We're playing the Green Bay UFO Invasion Fest in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with many other bands, Boris Sprinkler, Giants Chair, so on and so on. That's coming up this Saturday at the time of this recording, and that should be a really good time. We're doing a show with Castle Black, who are also playing Green Bay UFO Fest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Those are going to be 2 of the 3 Wisconsin shows happening this year, the last of which is Jesus Lizard in November. So take note if you live in Wisconsin and want to see this band. We're also going to be shooting a video with Mr. Rick Valentin, Poster Children, a friend of the show. He's on for After Hours episode. So he's going to be shooting a video for us, which is going to be one of at least 2 more videos coming out this summer, which is very exciting as well. So all that's coming up. Stay tuned for all that, neutronfriends.com. I got 2 tour announcements, but they don't have quite all the details sorted out, but they're going to be October and November, Mountain West, Northwest, and South and Midwest. No Canada, no more East Coast than what we already did so far. We'll see. But covering a lot of ground. It's been a busy year. We did.
I was going to say, for people who go to Conan shows, it's possible, not likely, but above 0 chance that I may just randomly be at the show, as happened once.
Like he was in Los Angeles. Yeah. Zach was at our show in LA, which is amazing. It was like, oh, where we played with, wait for it, Zach Dracula. The band
right,
Zach Dracula,
right.
Remember?
It was a fucking great show, by the way.
Thank you very much. It was great to see you. We'll come play Toronto. I thought it was going to be in October. It is not. We're going to probably be doing it next year. But can't wait to get back up there, man. I like it up there. It's like it's nice. It's nice, Canada. You got a nice country up there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Kristina, what do you got?
Well, this is my 3rd appearance on this space because syndicated Power Report, then my show, and then Movie Night Extravaganza. Went over the Paramount. It's basically Tuesday's Kristina Day. At this point, we've come to the conclusion that I'm everywhere. I I covered, I'm still streaming on Twitch, of course, been covering the Paramount debacle, bending the knee to Trump and suing Rupert Murdoch, who dedicates his entire programming to loving Trump on Fox News, but whatever. Covering, more...
his face. Everybody else's face was fine. It's just not his face.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Hello, Oppie. I'm in my Eve Teschmacher era from Superman because she's awesome, and her and Crypto are the real heroes of the movie. And I'm working on a cosplay.
When's she coming on the show? That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know too. I'm working on it. Getting Sara on. Oh my God, this cat wants all the attention. But yeah, I might be on Power Report this Thursday. I gotta check with Dan. I was on with Ravana last week. It was so cool hanging out with her. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Mr. both in church last Sunday and our last show.
Oh.
The Church of Rock and Roll.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the
that's the Saturdays. Joke, for those who are like this space or like, what's that? Dark Shadows was a gothic soap opera in the 60s that was about to get canceled, but then they brought vampires and a supernatural involved. Does that remind you of any other?
Put a vampire in it.
It's also Tim Burton's worst movie.
Yeah.
Yes. It's Why did he do that?
I watched it.
Not good.
It's one of the worst episodes of Mad Men, which has to do with the soap opera. So maybe you should just not stop making things that are related to that.
The only good thing about the movie was Evergreen, and that's about it.
I remember watching. I remember watching it as like I don't know. I might have been like a teenager. I don't know. I remember watching it in the theater though, and being like, "What the fuck was this?" Like,
yeah. If you just stick to if it was more of a satirical take on the soap opera, it would be fine. But it was all over the place. But we are at a point where there's a satanic cult involved, and I'm surprised there was no satanic panic happening back then because everyone was on drugs and free love and all that nonsense. But Barnabas has broken free from this satanic cult's influence because he was told that he had to kill Gillan. He couldn't do that, so hopefully he saves the day and he's a vampire again. So there's just a lot.
When they made the Tim Burton one, I didn't know that like it was based on anything. I was just like,
as someone who would be sick home from school watching the Sci-Fi Channel, Dark Shadows was on, and so that was like my crack. Like how Hunter Biden had crack cocaine. I had Dark Shadows as a kid.
It's funny that they had
that. I think he might still have crack cocaine.
Yeah.
So Dark Shadows is your crack, whereas Hunter Biden's crack is actually crack.
Yeah.
No, I can't smoke a little crack. That's my crack, man. I'll relapse.
I will say this. I think the funniest thing about it is that, of course, we're nowhere near done. But the second thing is like people were like, I have your stream on for background noise while I work. I'm like, okay. And then like 3-4 hours later, they're like, I've been watching your stream the whole time because I got sucked into this old soap opera from the 60s. A lot of people are comparing it to Doctor Who in the 60s, which I can see why.
Sure.
So, yeah. Yeah,
by the way, I wanted to. I didn't know whether you're going to be on or whether you're going to be dog sitting today, but I was going to say. I said I think in our chat Karen Gillan. The first time I ever saw her, I mean, she was in Doctor Who, but I remember seeing the Craig Ferguson thing where he was like nerding out over having her on because of Doctor Who.
Oh, how many times he had Matt Smith on was crazy.
Yeah. And then it's crazy because he was in a band with Peter Capaldi, who later played the Doctor.
Yep, Craig, yeah.
I think he was also Craig Ferguson was also nerding out because I've seen those up. They're some of my favorite Craig Ferguson interviews. He was also nerding out because he had another Scottish person on the show with him.
Yeah. That's nice too. Yeah.
Hugh McGregor, Gerard Butler. He gets all excited when fellow Scottish folks come on.
Which reminds me of the Barry Lyndon scene where he can't bring himself to spy on another Irishman. And breaks down because there's like another Irish guy that he's that's like Craig Ferguson meeting any Scottish person.
All right, Zach, what do you got for plugs?
Not a whole lot. It's just been a lot of auditioning lately, and no booking because that's right. Honestly, the most exciting thing that I'm working on right now is fuck Israel and free Palestine.
Hell
yeah!
No one's gonna argue what they hear.
That's my number one project right now.
I like StreamYard just takes down the stream. But it's like
first they came for Stephen Colbert, then they came for Moving Extravaganza.
I'm imagining like that was
totally the same thing, by the way.
Getting his life narrated by Nick Offerman. He's like, Zach's been doing a lot of auditioning lately. He doesn't know if anything's gonna break through, but he feels pretty good about that last one.
Yeah.
You got final thoughts on the life of Chuck there, Zach B. Marsh?
Yeah, with the caveat that I haven't watched as much stuff this year as I normally would have at this point, but it is my favorite film of the year. It's pretty high on my list of films of the decade so far. Anything else that's coming out has a tough fight with it, I would say.
I feel like Sinners is fighting with it. Like Sinners is up there. At least
Sinners is fighting with it, and Superman's fighting with it. But I feel like that's my 1, 2, 3, and I feel like they're actually pretty. Even though they're all 5 stars for me, they're pretty secure in like being where they are, I think. And it's my biggest thing with it is I think it's actually my favorite Stephen King adaptation, and I say that like I'm completely in the camp of like I think Shawshank Redemption is a masterpiece, but I think this just edges it out. And I have seen some of the responses to it are funny because I do wonder, is this movie actually really sentimental and bad, and this is my Forrest Gump, and I'm having like my midlife reaction to it, and in 45 years when I'm an old man, all the kids will be telling me that this movie was actually trite and shitty, and I was stupid for loving it. Maybe, but I love it.
They're like, you know what? They're like, the Life of Chuck sucks.
It's really no skibbity toilet.
Yeah, they're like, what's really great is Baby Gronk versus the Rizzler 3. That's what's really
and a Lavadoo.
and how you say that? I'm still confused about what that is.
They're evil. They're ugly.
But Kristina, do you have final thoughts?
Yes, as someone who lost their father to lung cancer that spread to the brain, this movie hit me in a lot of places that I was not ready to feel, but I felt them, and this film made me cry more than once. Tom, it's amazing. Hopefully people realize he's a very, very talented man, and he deserves to have his flowers finally after being stuck in the MCU for a decade. Great cast all along, like, typical Mike Flanagan, collaborees, I guess. And yeah, it's really hard to explain how amazing this movie is without breaking down the tears. So I'll just say this: if you haven't seen it, please go see it.
And most people haven't.
I really want like a meta style, like Being John Malkovich movie, but it's Tom Hiddleston stuck in the MCU. Like he's trying to get out of it.
Did you say MCU?
MCU. I woke up an hour before he starts here. Tom Hiddleston stuck in the MCU, and he's like trying to get out, and he's like desperately trying to get, and he just keeps on, or like the Truman Show, where he keeps trying to get out, and he pops back up in the MCU again, and he like can't get himself out of it.
I also really hope that this is not the movie that breaks the streak of TIFF winners being nominated for Best Picture. That it coming out the year after its respective TIFF has really got me concerned. But it's not.
Well, it co-won with the Substance though, right? Like the Substance got nominated. At least one.
Yeah, well, that's I think because they're both neon, right? Substance was, so I think that's part. They don't want to compete against it, but I just
hopefully it gets its time in the sun.
I hope it gets a Best Picture nomination.
We're doing our part.
I don't expect it would win, but I think the Palme d'Or winner, I forget what the film's called, which is also a neon film, is the front runner right now. But I hope Life of Chuck is in the 10. It deserves to be.
Okay, Conan.
Yeah, I do. I'm apologies in advance, but yeah, this is a stunning, richly humanistic existential tale told asynchronously. It's a great movie to reassess life and have it affirmed with all the beautiful flaws and sinkholes along the way. And the story itself matters less than the outlining of the entire human experience. And I found it incredibly moving, spellbinding, and life-affirming with not the least bit of treacle, no cloying cliche. It's my favorite movie of the year. I really, really hope that people watch it. because it's very good, and I enjoyed the discussion.
It's supposed to go on streaming pretty soon. Like I don't think I
Cool.
saw.
And next week is Jaws. Next week is Jaws with Alex.
We'll do an after party next week for Jaws. And thanks for joining us. And hello, this space people.